man who paved the way for the downfall of the Three Kingdoms. His enemies recognize his cunning and his strategy as a force to be reckoned with. And if you don't believe it, then just listen to that laugh.
Yeah, that's a laugh, all right. Let's dive right in. Sima Yi was one of the famed brothers of the Sima clan, known for their talents in military strategy. During his military career, he predicted the Han would soon end under Cao Cao, and was not motivated to join Wei. After refusing many of his requests, Cao Cao sent agents to retrieve Sima Yi and ordered him to serve.
Bring me Sima Yi. If he dallies, arrest him on sight.
Relations between Cao Cao and Sima Yi were strained, with the latter often feigning illness to avoid meetings. However, after Cao Cao caught on to these acts, Sima Yi was left with no choice but to officially serve the King of Wei as a personal consultant. Sima Yi rose through the ranks and became one of Cao Cao's close advisors. Using his strategies, Cao Cao was able to gain a strong foothold in Hanzhong in 215 before it was lost to Shu.
Before Cao Cao's death in 119, Sima Yi was made Cao Pi's secretary, and was the one who pushed the young lord to succeed over his younger brothers, which proved successful. Sima Yi became one of Cao Pi's closest friends and took part in his vicious plot against his younger brothers. While Cao Pi continued to campaign against Wu in 225, he left Sima Yi in charge of the capital to fortify against Shu.
As I did battle with Wu in the east, you guarded against Shu in the west. When I leave to fight against Shu, I'll entrust you with the defenses in the east.
When Cao Pi died in 226, he named Cao Rui as his successor and Sima Yi as his regent. In 230, Sima Yi took command against the campaign against Zhuge Liang and forced him to retreat to the Wuzhong Plains. The Wei forces moved to take the Shu main camp, but retreated when Sima Yi suspected Zhuge Liang's death was fake, allowing Shu to retreat safely.
It was not your strategies that bested me.
When Cao Rui passed away, he entrusted his heir, Cao Fang, to strictly Cao family members and exclude Sima Yi, which limited his power. After suffering a large amount of disrespect and degradations on his power, Sima Yi had enough. In 249, he staged a coup that called for the arrest and execution of his corrupt superior, Cao Shuang. Sima Yi then began removing individuals who were a threat to his new position of power and replaced them with honest officials who he could trust. The state was under the full control of Sima Yi and his two sons, Sima Shi and Sima Zhao, who killed anyone who were still loyal to the Caos, thus establishing a new reign of the Sima clan.
There are 5 options available during battle: fight, defend, flee, surrender, or death.
In the games, Sima Yi is a character that can be easily misconstrued as villainous since, you know.
Imbecile!
The games usually have Sima Yi popping up during the Battle of Cao Pi. However, the Sima have been trying to avoid the fighting in Wei territory. Sima Yi didn't get fully involved until the campaign in Hongzhong, but Cao Cao did send for the Sima around the same time at Cao Pi.
Sima Yi used to be in the Wei roster in the earlier games before being placed as the founder of Jin, which has had a lot of fans at odds with the decision. With its very modest roster size, turncoat officers, and the fact that all of these characters are still technically Wei soldiers long before the Jin dynasty is officially established. And I think only 3 of them even lived to see it. But the simple matter is that the Jin faction isn't another kingdom, but rather the conclusion of the 3 main campaigns. Sima Yi shares a rivalry with Zhuge Liang, which was popularized in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms during the campaign at Wuzhong. Zhuge Liang attempted to force Sima Yi out of the main camp. Sensing his rival was ill, Sima Yi was not baited until he heard of Zhuge Liang's death. But he predicted that it was another of Zhuge Liang's schemes and withdrew his troops at the last moment. This allowed a rumor to spread.
All symbols surrounding Sima Yi is meant to contrast with Zhuge Liang in almost every way. It's only fitting for the rival of the pioneer of the Three Kingdoms be the one to destroy it. Zhuge Liang preaches benevolence while Sima Yi preaches superiority. Sima Yi is pride and Zhuge Liang is faith. Both wield fans, but Sima Yi has a more diverse repertoire of weapons and skills. Not to mention, Sima Yi has more sinister abilities. His various designs are themed after a Qiangji, which is a mythical beast of legend. It is a chimeral creature with a body of a tiger, legs of a horse, and wings. The common rival of the Qingwang, a dragon. Yet another tiger versus dragon comparison.
Also, it's very clear that Sima Yi's successors understood his lessons, as opposed to Zhang Wei and Ma Su, who had failed to live up to their legacies. They also didn't really want their wives to see them struggle.
My dear, I was merely assessing the enemy's strength. I was in no way struggling against them.
I feign weakness to trap the enemy. Yue Ying, you were quick to see my plan, yes?
The name of Sima Yi's classic weapon, the War Fan, also contrasts Zhuge Liang. The black feather counters the white feather, dark feather trumps peacock feather, the abyssal feather counters divine feather, and the raven feather is against the griffin feather.
Come, my nemesis. Let us see which of us possesses the superior strategies.
He has Musou attacks with spider motifs. Spiderweb paralyzes his foes in a sinister web, held by his signature laugh. Annihilation traps his enemies in a dark wave of energy, and Flash Snare makes ice fall from the sky. His wife later adopts this arachnid motif by using his wire gloves from Dynasty Warriors 6.
With the death of his rival, Sima Yi lost interest in military affairs and retired, entrusting the state's future to his sons. He then passed away in 251, leaving Sima Shi as his heir. Sima Yi would be remembered as the man who laid the groundwork for the fall of the Three Kingdoms.